How's it hanging and what's going on, everybody? My name is Grenmore.
And I'm Kyra Yuki.
And welcome back to Fully Horrible People and to our thoughts on Love Stage. So before we get into anything, just in case you need a nice little picture, cue the badly edited photo. Did I do it? You think I did it?
I hope you did. I did the noise.
I'm worried that I put it in a picture of a clock.
A cock.
I think future me's a dick. Hey, I made a dick joke. Without even... anyway, back to the...
Dick.
Okay, so Love Stage is a yaoi anime. Or Boys Love if you prefer. If you're classy.
But it doesn't go too far, so don't worry those people who don't like it that much. It's more show-and-eye, so you're pretty much good. Plus it's hilarious.
Yes,
so...
it's fucking funny. Now, before we start, of course, we have to mention that we both love this anime. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's good, it's funny. There are a few things that I will bring up that I'm not overly fond of. But it doesn't really take away too much from the anime. So, without further ado, Kyra Yuki, will you do the synopsis for us?
Okay, so Senna Izumi is the youngest son of a group of actors, singers, that sort of thing. But you get the thing, famous people.
And he is our protagonist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the protagonist. And he's also an otaku. Because of a incident in his past, he pretty much didn't want anything to do with show business. And he's forced to star in that commercial that scarred him in the past again because of his mother wanting to star with the popular actor Ichiro Ryoma, I believe his name is. I know Ryoma is part of it, but
yeah, we'll just call him Ryoma.
yeah, it's Ryoma for.
I'm feeling with my time.
Oh, that's okay. I had an itch and everything, so
yeah.
We're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing fantastically.
I think there's like hair on the inside of this.
It's a scarf made out of wool. What do you expect? Yeah, continue.
Anyway. And it turns out that Ryoma had a crush on Izumi since he started the commercial with him 10 years previous. And this isn't a spoiler since it happened in the first episode.
I should also like to point out that our young protagonist was dressed as a girl.
Yes! Because that mother made the right choice.
The right choice of dressing her son up as a girl. Although I suppose if she didn't, none of the story would have happened. So yeah.
She did what I would have done. Well, for the sake of the commercial, you know.
Just, okay, widow. Pity your kids.
I mean, it was just for the sake of the commercial. And it was only one time. All they had to do was catch the bouquet in the dress. Anyway.
You're up to the commercial.
So he gets to the commercial and they're trying to keep quiet the fact that he's Guy. I'm not going to say how he's convinced to do the commercial because that's the best part, one of the best parts. But he does the commercial, and when he meets with Ryoma again, Ryoma eventually discovers that Izumi is in fact a boy. And he is very confused.
Much like Boku no Pico, this does not deter Ryoma.
Although, with that, you can't really defend Moken in Boku no Pico, considering he was told that Pico was the old guy's grandson before that.
The guy doesn't listen.
Yeah, he was just there. He just had the boner.
Also, I'd like to point out, Kyra Yuki is doing a very bad cosplay of Kakashi Sensei from Naruto.
Well, this is just until I get my mask.
Yes, we're working on getting her a better mask, because obviously in the first video, the hollow mask I used wasn't great, and it was kind of weird.
Well, I like wearing it. It's just more to do with the audio.
Yeah. this shouldn't interfere as much. So, either way, let's continue with the story.
So after trying to deal with his very confused boner, he eventually comes to terms with the fact that no matter if he's a boy or a girl, he can't just toss aside 10 years of feelings. Because his feels are the strongest. I don't know. Anyway, and he goes on to try and get Easy to date him, basically. And that's pretty much the whole series. Them trying to falling in love and trying to win him over, that sort of thing. And as I said, I don't want to go into too many further details because I don't want to spoil anything. Because it is really funny. And I think it's best if you get as little spoilers as possible. And I'll hand over to Grenmore with his problems with it.
Yes. Okay. So, along with the awesomeness of this anime, there are a few things that I found irritating. For one, there are two characters in it. The manager of his family's business,
Ray.
And then, of course, our lovely protagonist's brother.
Shogun.
Yes. Who happened to be an item. But this isn't really touched upon much in the anime, which was something that really irritated me, because I wanted those two to be together, and then Yuki informed me that they were. But there wasn't really much development on that part, which means, upon looking it up, it turns out that it is detailed in a separate edition of the manga.
Yes.
Which, although I'm fine with reading the manga, I would have liked that if they dedicated like a small OVA to their relationship. Rather than just, subtly hinting at it, because it's not really discussed in the anime. Which is a problem, because I really wanted to see that. And it does. You do realize it a few times, and I think it's actually adds a bit of emphasis. Another thing is, what was his name again? Shogo. Shogo has a problem with Ryuma, and is constantly being the overprotective brother. And although this doesn't get into the way of the story too much, it does get a little bit annoying. I also don't think they should have really done the OVA. I think it could have just been skipped.
No, I liked it.
I mean, no, it's great, but I think the ending to the actual series before the OVA was just perfect, the way it was. And although it was great to have a small, I'm going to say little dessert dish to go with the main course, it wasn't really needed.
Well, you have to consider the manga went well past that point.
That is true.
And we did learn before that, just a spoiler alert, don't if you're planning to watch the anime, don't watch this next bit.
Skip ahead about 2 minutes.
That it was going to hurt.
Yes.
So
that whole thing where, they were going to sleep together and he was worried it was going to hurt.
And he learned from Ray, after Izumi left, that it's probably going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so having the OVA, having them deal with that and get past that, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't just end oh, it hurt, and now they're just gonna leave it like that.
Yeah, he was actually really apprehensive about sleeping with him and everything. And it wasn't until towards the end where he didn't want to be the uke in the relationship that he just went, I'm gonna dominate him. I'm gonna stick it in him, and then it ends up turning around and he gets turned into the uke again.
Yeah, because no matter how much he tries, Izumi will always be the bottom bench.
Yep, he the bottom, Ryuma's the top.
Anyway, and spoiler, everyone who was avoiding that, it's safe now.
Yeah, I don't think it was 2 minutes long, but I think that covers the spoiler bit.
Yeah, although it isn't, I suppose it's a bit of a spoiler, it's not a huge thing, because you would assume they'll do that at some point.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the series, I guess.
And that's just coming from me that started with yaoi. Most people start with show and I just went, I delved into the yaoi pool.
You went straight into the full-on, going in dry stuff.
I went straight to Judge Romantica.
Yeah, you dived into Junji Romantica and it's just like, yay!
I remember going back to the first yaoi manga I read and be like, oh, that's not that bad. I remember being a lot worse than this.
Yeah, you start reading things that are a lot worse and you're just like, wow, is this really the worst thing I've ever seen? Wow, this is actually quite tame.
The first time I read it, I was just like, oh my god, this is so explicit, it's so bad, it's good, but it's so bad. So then I go back to it, just like, oh, this is still a pretty good story, but sexualized, that's not bad. I've seen worse. I've been to the dark side of the alley.
So yeah, I think the characters were pretty interesting. They had some good plot points, and although they weren't in it much, the mother and father showed a great relationship, and I would have liked to have seen what would happen if they found out that both their kids were homosexual.
Wait, but don't get me started on that sort of thing. I mean, just quickly another nod to Gender Romantica. I'm still waiting to find out what happened when the older brother finds out the younger brother is dating his best friend.
Yeah, perhaps don't jump into that. This is one series, we need to stick to it.
I'm just saying that frustrates the hell out of me.
So, the story's not bad either. And, to be honest, some of the plot points are pretty good. And some of the things that happen are also very good. It's hard to exactly for me to pinpoint things that are really bad. There are the two things I mentioned which just basically annoyed the absolute shit out of me because we didn't get any closure with it. Or understood what their relationship was. Also, he is kind of a trap.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of it, you're thinking, girl.
Yeah, well, that's one thing you learn quick in anime. Be very careful not to assume someone's gender because there are some really manly-looking chicks and some really girly-looking guys.
You should see Danganronpa. There is this big, muscly chick who looks like a dude.
Yeah.
And
I've seen her.
I really hate what happened to her. I loved her so much.
I know what happened to the girly guy.
Girly guy.
The guy that he's like dressed up as a chick and everyone thinks he's a chick. But
Oh,
he's a
yeah, that was heartbreaking.
I was just like, I want to keep you. You're adorable.
But anyway, I think we've talked enough about other series and this one. So definitely check it out. If you're not a fan of that stuff, don't worry about it. But seriously, if you are, it's a pretty good thing to get into.
I mean, even if you're not, there are a lot of people who don't hate yaoi and big yaoi in general and like this series.
It's got good comedy, good decent romance, nice build-up, and unlike most things like that, there's not really a horrible part where it's like things are going good and then it's just this deep depressing part like in comedy movies and things like that where it's just like, great, you've brought down the mood, I was enjoying myself, you're a cunt.
Although there is a low point in the series, it only lasts for, I think, end of one episode and the beginning of the other. So it's not a long thing. So
yeah. It was what, 10 episodes? 11 if you include the OVA?
Yeah, it's 11 if you include the OVA. It's not a very long series, but it's a good series.
Yeah, it's something you can get through in a couple of hours.
Well, not a couple, but 3 or 4.
I don't know, I got through Bocano in about the same time.
I don't know.
It's a small series which you can get through in one sitting. So yeah, definitely check it out. Well, that's it from us. I quite enjoyed doing this review. I hope you join me for the next one, my dear.
Yes, I will. Don't call me that again.
Anyway, that's it from us. Don't forget to not take things too seriously and just always have fun. See ya!